Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear.
I'd like to help us deepen into today with some opening words called Blanket Fort Prayer, which is what I was first attracted to, because I don't know if any of you remember blanket forts, but they're the best, by Helen H.P. Rivers. Meet me at the altar of banned books, Blanket Fort Sanctuary. We will dance to a chorus of children's laughter. Meet me in the joy, the sorrow, beneath the rainbow banner. Bring your questions, cares, concerns. Bring the glitter in your pocket and the sparkle in your smile. Bring your heavy heart and your favorite mug, your very best swear words. Set down your very bravest face. Meet me in the heartbeat between what has been and what will be. Meet me in the flicker of our eternal flame. We need not face this moment alone. And now, we'll join Unitarian Universalists all over the world in lighting our chalice. Liz Anderson, would you please come forward to do that? The chalice is a symbol of the light within each of us, and we have a beautiful one. If you're on video, I invite you to turn on your video, and if you have a candle or chalice that you can light, please do that together. We're in good company. Our chalice lighting words this morning are entitled Opening to the Light from Sarah Ruth Wakoye Davis. We light this chalice with an open heart. We light this chalice with resolve. We light this chalice with tears still fresh on our cheeks. We light this chalice in hope, a tiny flame we nurture. We light this chalice with reverence for this place, for these people, for this time. We light this chalice with all our souls longing to be who we are, to be who we will become, to be ourselves. We light this chalice in self-love, in giving love, in holy love. All right. Well, we are having fun today, and I think we'll keep having fun when we hear from our speaker today, who is my friend and yoga teacher, Brenda Stone. Brenda, if you can't tell from her accent, is originally from upstate New York, and she moved to North Dakota in 1989 and feels very at home here. She's had many opportunities without realizing which way the wind would take her. She would fan the flames of desire to ignite the fire as she reinvented herself over and over. There have been several firsts with each new job or career. She has a bachelor's degree in business management. She's worked in radio and newspaper, sales, owned Northwoods Gallery, was director of the Downtowners, and the marketing director for United Way. She never really knew where each step would take her, but always found the desire to keep moving with the flow. Yoga has been her greatest passion for the past 25 years. While owning Yoga for You, she was instrumental in bringing yoga out in the open for our community. She was co-founder of the North Dakota Yoga Conference, started the first hot yoga studio, the first stand-up paddleboard yoga classes, and the first yoga teacher training in our state. She's trained and has certifications in Ayurveda, meditation, YogaFit, Anusara Yoga, subtle yoga, breathwork, and recently Aromatherapy. And the title of her talk today is Finding the Fire to Ignite Your Desire.
Thank you for the introduction. That gives you a little bit of a background of where I come from and what I have done. But I want to show you how you can actually read the signs, find the wisdom within to keep the fires going and to ignite the fire that's within your desire. I'm going to read some of this, some of it I'm going to talk freely, but I want to try and keep within the 20 minutes. When I first started writing this, I could have taken a day and a half, okay? So I'm here to talk about reading the signs and fanning the fire to ignite the desires within. We hear more and more that whatever you really need is already inside of you. I will begin with a short meditation today. We're going to do a short meditation today, and then I'll talk about my journey and how a girl from small town upstate New York became a yoga instructor in North Dakota. Yeah, I would have never thought that. The meditation will take just a couple of minutes. I've timed it a couple of times to make sure that we don't go over time. There are 4 soul questions. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but there's 4 soul questions that we can ask ourselves. With my guidance, there will be thoughts, ideas, feelings, emotions that may arise. Without putting any importance on any one of them, I want you just to focus on the phrase that I give you and silently repeat it to yourself. Continuing to breathe in and out. If at any time your mind wanders, just bring it back to the breath and to the phrase that I've given. So I want you to sit comfortably. Go ahead, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all the way out. And we'll begin. The first question is, who am I? Not thinking of the external environment, recognizing your breath as you continue silently repeating this question to yourself without regards to personal possessions, relationships, jobs, titles, or labels placed on you. Who am I? You can release that question and we'll move on to what do I want? That is the second soul question. Again, repeating the question, recognizing the thoughts that might come, and just let them go as you continue to repeat. What do I want? Release that question, and we'll move on to the next soul question. What is my purpose? Allow yourself to settle into these words with your breath, not thinking of the people, places, or things in the external environment around you, but what is truly inside of you. What is my purpose? You can release that question and we'll come finally to the last soul question. What am I grateful for? Again, not thinking of places, people, or things, just repeating to yourself, what am I grateful for? Go ahead and release that question. Take a couple of breaths in and out. Slowly bring your awareness back into the room. Soften your gaze and come back into the room. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe some things came up. Who knows? You never know what might come up when you just go inside. Using our internal world, we can find the signs that by using our intellect, which is our head, our emotions, which is our heart, and our intuition, which is our gut. That inner wisdom can sometimes help us find ourselves. I reinvented myself over and over again to finally land in a place that I found comfortable. And there was a lasting fire in my belly. I look back and I'm amazed at how many turns I took. The road was not straight at all. And you can tell by all of the jobs that I've had. I've had a lot of jobs. I've moved a lot of times. With 20/20 vision, the signs were always there though. And I took a couple of wrong turns, but I did end up in my happy place. So to begin with, actually, this was very appropriate to use the yoga because how did I begin when I was a child? How would I have ever known that yoga was going to be part of my life? And it was because I did gymnastics as a child. I used to be out on the front lawn at my parents' house and my grandparents' house doing flips, doing all sorts of somersaults and headstands, walking on my hands, back flips, back bends, all of that. This is easy. So, and then as I got older in high school, I did the same. And I wanted to join the after school gymnastics, but I was not allowed to because my parents were very ambitious. They moved us from a very small town into a very large town. I was 12 years old when we moved into a city. Yeah, that did not go well with me. I had been bullied all my life in high school and in elementary school, but that made me stronger and I became a survivor. I was very rebellious though when we did that move, and I let a lot of things go and snuck out of the house quite a few times. I took my girlfriend along for the ride. Her name is Helen, and I'm going to see her again next week. She and I've stayed friends since I was 12 years old. She was my next door neighbor. We got in a lot of trouble. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad of trouble. I don't know how I sidestepped some of that. I went to college. My parents wanted me to get a degree that would make money. So they thought I should be a secretary. Um, and I learned shorthand. Texting is a lot easier. Um, and then I wanted to do social work because I was always known to help, find a little puppy or kitty or person that needed help. And so I thought social work would help. And my parents said, no, that's not going to work for you. I said, okay. So I quit. And I moved out when I turned 18. And when I moved out, my parents said, when you move out, that's it. You can never come back. And they held to that. I eventually moved and took classes in electronics because I wanted to work for IBM. I had friends in IBM and I became a technician for IBM. It took me about 5 years to get that degree or to get that hired with IBM. I did not get the degree, but they saw that I was ambitious enough and they hired me on. And I was one of the few women, we're talking early 80s. And I was one of the few women to become a technician for IBM. I repaired office equipment. I repaired the typewriters, the copiers, and the computers, the 64K. Yeah. And then we got to 256. Wow, was that something? And I have stories to tell about that. That was hysterical. But that was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a freedom that I could go on the road and do what I wanted to do to repair these computers and things. What was interesting is everybody said, how come you're so good at your job? I said, I fix the people first. Because when your computer or typewriter or copier break down, you're not in a good place. So I would go in and definitely change that thought. Well, how did I get out here? When I was working for IBM, I met a guy from Towner, North Dakota. Okay. So he came to New York to work on one of the power plants in the area that I lived. And it was a good romance. And after he was there for 3 months and we dated for those 3 months. And then he came back to Bismarck, North Dakota, wherever the heck that was. And we continued to kind of date and over the phone, the whole bit. And he said, well, why don't you just move out here? Maybe I could get a transfer with IBM. So I went to my manager and said, you can't get a transfer, but I did very well in that position. And because I was a woman, they still wanted women in the position. So they said, we'll hook you up with the people out in Bismarck. So they did. I was going to be hired, and then IBM had a hiring freeze the day that I was supposed to get hired. Actually, the day they called me up, and I went, so I had to reinvent myself once again in a country, this is a country that I did not know anything about. I started a home-based business. I was a photographer and I also did framing. So I taught myself how to do framing out of the basement, and that was natural reflections, photography and framing. I did photography for Dan Sparling and I did some framing for Basin Electric and some other businesses in town. As I was doing that, I had a couple of jobs and ended up selling advertising for Y93. As you see how this is going along, this is all kind of moving in one path, but it's kind of a crooked path to get there. And I sold Y93 or advertising for Y93. I loved it. It was a blast. And I met a lot of great people there. While selling that, I met a lot of business owners, got to know them. And I met Jan from Northwoods Gallery, and she called me up one day and she said, why don't you buy my gallery? Why? Okay. Well, framing and I need to sell. Okay, I have $100. How do I do this? So we figured it out. I got an SBA loan and I was able to buy the gallery. And in 1995, I opened up continued with the business. Loved it. Had a lot of different things that I did, a lot of different events. While I was there, Bonnie Torrance moved back into town. So some of these people I know you all know these people. And Bonnie Torrance moved back into town and she came into the gallery. She needed some mirrors. Okay, let's talk. And while we were talking, I told her, she told me she did yoga, and I told her I had, headaches, and I had back pain and stuff like that. And she said, I can help you with that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Um, and she did. We did trade, and she was wonderful. And from that point on, I went to yoga at her place over in Mandan and wherever else she went. Eventually, I also got my business degree in my bachelor's degree in business management at the U of Mary, because I had so many different classes, college classes. One guy came in and goes, you can put all that together into one degree, you know? And so I did. I got all the transcripts and did that. Skipping ahead, I sold out the gallery. I closed out the gallery. Nobody wanted to buy it, and that was fine. And I paid off the SBA loan, no problems there. It was a very successful business. But I saw the writing on the wall. Because of computers, I knew that framing was going to not be that wanted by a lot of people. And also, you know, businesses were coming into town that would also do framing for a lot less. So, and I had three computers in that gallery, IBM, here we are, when I left. And I continued with that, making sure that I kept up with computers and as they advanced. Skipping ahead, I was marketing director for United Way with Tom Regan. And I really enjoyed doing that and helping people and doing various events and like that. Eventually, that job came to an end and I was unemployed. I did not know what I was going to do. And Bonnie and I stayed in touch. And I continued to teach yoga. What I did is, while I was at the United Way, I went to the Y and decided I would teach yoga, because otherwise I wouldn't do it. So how do you keep up your practice? You teach it. So I did that. And then when I lost my job, they hired me for the membership services also. And so I taught and did that. And I continued with my yoga training, and which took about 5 years to get. With that yoga training, I finally got my certification 1 month before I bought Bonnie's business. I just bought the business, and it was called Pinwheel Creative Movements. I asked her if I could change the name, and she said, sure. What do you want to do? I said, Yoga for You. And she said, okay, you can do this. And what's funny about this is, during my training, at one time, about 3 years into my training, they said, if you were to ever own a yoga studio, yeah, right, I would do that in a million years. What would you name it? And I wrote it down, Yoga for You. So when I got that opportunity, I knew that was for me. Now we're really going in a straight line here. Okay, let me see where I'm at here. So Bonnie contacted me in April of 2011 and asked me if I was interested. And one thing that you find out is things start coming to you, especially when it is a desire and it's that fire that is burning inside of you that you need to do. All of a sudden, everything opens up. And what happened is, I got in the mail, I had no money. I told Bonnie, I said, okay, I want to buy your business. I've been unemployed for a year. How do I do this? Okay. And I had a house too. And she wanted me to, just take over the house. I said, I can't. I have my own house and I'm trying to figure this all out. So she and I sat down and figured it out. And she came up with a number. And within a couple of days, I got one of those credit card applications in the mail, and said, if you join this credit card company, you don't have to pay for 12 months and 0% interest. I don't see too many of those anymore. I call those my magic checks. I called them up and I said, how much? They told me, and it was half of what Bonnie wanted. So I went to Bonnie and I said, can I do this? And she said, sure. So I did that. I gave her the money and I paid that off in 6 months. So the business was quite successful. I had some wonderful teachers and I really enjoyed what I was doing. The following year, another one of those little letters came in the mail, and I called him up and I said, yeah, I'll take that amount. I paid off Bonnie, and I paid that one off in 3 months. It was a wonderful time with Yoga for You. Eventually, I also bought the house, and there again, it was like just things started coming together. It was about 2 years later that I bought the house. And let's see, where am I at? I had I also computerized the business, of course. I had to do that to keep track of the students, keep track of the teachers, to do schedules. I did marketing, I did sales, and I developed a website. While I had the studio, I received a certification for Ayurveda, which is life science, and that is from the Chopra Center. I actually studied with, not himself, Deepak Chopra. I have met him, but it was a wonderful opportunity, and I got a lot out of that. I also got another 20 hours from Anusara training out of South Dakota. I worked on informational and training video classes of Ayurveda, yoga, and essential oils. Then something happened in 2020. Okay, I had to close my business because of a pandemic. Oh, I remember that day very clearly. That was really tough. I also had to sell the house, but I already started training videos. I had the camera equipment, I had the mics, I had everything that I needed to do. I soundproofed a small little room inside the house before I sold it, and that's where I taught yoga virtually for a couple of months. Then I sold the house in August of 2020 and bought the micro condo. It was so small. I got it for a really good price because it needed a lot of work. I gutted basically the whole thing. You know about some of the work that I had done. I'm looking around and I'm like, every one of you just about has touched my life one way or another. Thank you so much. So coming full circle, this is where it really gets interesting. I knew I needed to buy a small condo. How was I going to do that? I got right on my computer, looked up condos, Bismarck, poof, up comes this condo that I had lived in 30 years prior. And I always said, if I would ever move back, that's where I would live again. I called up my realtor and I said, look, I want that condo. I got that condo. That's where I'm living now. During this time of having, I did the yoga out of the condo in the guest room. Not going to have any guests during a pandemic, so I figure I could use that. So that room has turned into many rooms since then. And it was fun, it was exciting, but the business was really lacking and I was struggling. So I decided to partner up with another yoga studio, Illuminate in town. When they were open, I partnered with them and I was teaching classes there and also still doing it online. Time flies and I eventually was able to get Medicare. Cool. I hadn't had health insurance for years. Awesome. Seeing that I did not have health insurance, I also got a free membership at the Y. Yeah, another full circle. I started teaching at the Y, and when I went in for my silver sneakers, they said, well, why don't you teach here? Oh, okay, maybe I could do that. So I put pen to paper, and yes, that made sense for me at that time to just go back. And I'm still there, by the way, teaching at the Y. The Y, let's see, where am I at there? Okay. But still, something was missing. After, I've been there for 3 years now, and I just needed something else. I needed to ignite that fire again. The fire was gone. It was snuffed out a little bit. I was having a good time. I was semi-retired and just teaching a few classes a week. So I went back to my essential oils and thought, what could I do with those? And I started hunting around on the computer and found aromatherapy. Maybe I could do something with that. So I looked into that and I found a place that I could learn online and get a certification for aromatherapy. I did my level 1 aromatherapy last year, and now I am on to my level 2, which is also professional aromatherapy. And with this training, I go deeper with more research and case studies, and I can become certified. Aromatherapy is the next step in my journey. It is my way to bring together yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, and the essential oils to help people create holistic approach to a healthier lifestyle. We realize through the experience of our bodies, they are always giving us signs that we need to recognize. Let's remember that the three brains, the head, the intellect, the emotional, the heart, and the intuitional, the gut, are our inner wisdom, and that's where we can find that. This can be done through meditation, the 4 soul questions, to find your truth. And by the way, that 4 soul questions comes from Deepak Chopra when I was training with him, or his group. Simply listening to your body tells you what it needs and when it is comfortable. Looking at it as the vessel that we need to keep in good shape to travel through the journey called life. I hope you have found some inspiration, and you can light the fire of your desires no matter what age. Don't stop doing because of a number. Keep going and slide into home base with a smile on your face. Thank you so much.
As we extinguish the flame of our chalice, we ignite it inside of ourselves. Our commitment to our mission and to one another is an unquenchable flame. Let us remember that we are not alone until we light this flame next time. And now, before we go into our closing music with Alicia, I want to read this prayer that I happened upon in preparing for Sunday that I couldn't leave without saying because it really has helped me this week. So our closing words are from Sarah Eileen Lowell, Seeking That Which Unites Us. If you're a praying person, this is in the form of a prayer. Spirit of life and love, in this time of uncertainty, of fear and angst, our nation holds its collective breath. In this time, when rhetoric blusters about and words are used as weapons, our nation clenches its fists, tightens its shoulders, eyes squeeze shut. Some are preparing for a fight. May we remember that we are a people of resilience. We have faced uncertainty before. We have weathered storms. We have been consumed by flames. We have risen like the phoenix from the ashes, and we will again. We, the people. May we remember our shared humanity, our universal kinship, our interdependence, as we unclench our fists and breathe together, breathing in love and breathing out peace. May we recognize the spark of the divine inside all of us, even those we are not quite sure about. In this time of uncertainty, we remember the good will go on as we work to move forward together, we the people, seeking that which unites us, with our arms reaching out wide for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. May love prevail. In the name of all that is holy, we pray.
Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know. You won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide this will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait.